I got really nervous the other day when my husband, who never calls me out on anything, said, Felice, when you have a second, I'd really like to talk to you. Everything went through my mind, like maybe I hadn't paid enough attention to him. Maybe he felt overlooked. Every time he says, get in the car, I start finding a million things to do. I'm always running late. It's inconsiderate. I mean, it was like the best medicine for reviewing the imperfections in my behavior regarding our marriage. So I did get a little nervous, like being called into the teacher's office, and said, well, okay, I will be with you shortly. Can I just go to the bathroom first? And he's like, of course. My knees were like shaking just a little bit. I mean, there's nothing confrontational about my husband. So what could this be? We've been married 12 years. Nothing like this had ever been presented to me. Felice, can I talk to you? Is something I want to talk to you about. Okay. So I was presented with a reality. He had been listening to me speaking to a girlfriend. It wasn't eavesdropping. He just happened to be inside. The doors were open. The screens were closed, but you could obviously hear. And apparently, he said, I have been dropping the F-bomb numerous times. I was shocked. Really? What the fuck? You kidding? That's what was bothering you? And he was like, seriously, that is not the reaction I was looking for. I didn't even know what to do with it. I am fully aware that there are very few words that describe what I want to say better than the F-bomb. I can't even tell you how many years I've been using it for. I started thinking, okay, is this like a generational thing, or the way he grew up, or did his parents never swear? I mean, my dad would swear when he was furious. I grew up with that not being appropriate either, but pretty much can't watch a TV show or movie these days without it. So I'm sure I have been affected like most. But there is a certain amount of glee, joy, and relief in dropping the F-bomb. I am guilty. Not really that remorseful, maybe not at all, and definitely not wanting to change. So what was going to happen here? That's not really the point of the story. The point of the story is, do you find that you're dropping the F-bomb too many times? Does it bother people? I don't know. Nobody's ever called me out on it before. But, oh yes, once on the golf course. But it was a 30-foot putt. I had no business making it. It just like, it went straight, then it went around like the cup like once and then dropped in. I was so excited. I yelled, what the fuck? I didn't even have to think. It was like my insides I was jumping. I was excited. That was my language. Apparently that's not language to use at the golf course, but that was my language, and it seemed to say it all. I had a great score that day. That was it. Didn't seem like it would be bothering anybody, and frankly, there are a few times when it's appropriate. I can think of, like last Friday night, I decided to follow a recipe. Already, that's a big deal already. Because I don't really like following recipes, but I know that baking requires that you must follow proportions. So I made my very first challah. It was the Friday of a very important evening. My sister would be coming to visit, and I wanted to make something special. Our very first guest since COVID started last March. I followed the directions. I punched down the dough. It was exciting. Things were moving along the way they were supposed to, according to the directions. I braided that challah. I baked that challah. And when we went to eat that challah, after we had blessed it, It was full. It was doughy and yeasty. And it had taken me about 2 hours to make. So it deserved, after taking a bite, what the fuck? This is like the worst challah I have ever had. What went wrong? I think that was an appropriate response. Not one I had premeditated, just a response. I don't think I shocked anybody at the table. They also thought the challah was disgusting. Another time, I decided that I wanted to wear a pair of earrings that I liked a lot. They were sparkly with real stones. So I had to go find the jewelry bag that I had placed those earrings in. And I had no clue. I closed my eyes. I tried to recall where I had stashed away the jewels. Nothing. So 2 months later, I found them. I forget where. That's the problem. I always forget where. And I berated myself. But when I found them, I let out one big WTF, and it was warranted. That behavior's not getting changed. My husband just told me the other day when we were talking about, these next 10 years, 15 years, life is definitely at a point where we need to figure out, since we're winding down on work. I'll never wind down on better after 50, ... way better after 50, because I love it. But he isn't going to be working as much. So we were talking about where we would spend the winters. We could always work remotely if we decided on a project. And I had tried 2 years in Florida. And I'd been pretty clear. It just wasn't for me. Well, when I asked him, just be honest, where would you like to spend the winter? And he said, Florida. WTF. It's just the right word for so many things. Judge me if you will. It's the way it is.